And that's it.
Did we get to see his deck? I don't remember. I don't believe we covered him, at least.
I don't believe so either.
Yeah, that is very impressive. Especially in a format like Dominaria, where, sometimes your opponent just plays a card that's very hard to beat, and you just losing the spot to that card. It does happen sometimes.
All right, look at this. Teshar, Ancestors, Apostles pulled to the front of the pack here for Aaron as he enters his second booster draft of the day and then perhaps a run to the top 8. What are his other options?
Oh, none. I mean,
there really isn't much here, is there?
No, this pack is not good. Like, it's Teshar, and then I believe the next 5 people will be disappointed at seeing this pack.
Right.
Like, whoever gets a second will not have a second pick worthy card.
No.
Or a third pick worthy card. Like, there are some cards I'd be happy to put in my deck in there, but not ones that I want to take aggressively. Teshar is really the only choice.
Yep. So, Teshar, Ancestors, Apostle is going to be the pick for Aaron Rubin. And we'll see what Aaron can put together here. Pack 1, pick 2 incoming. Curious to see what direction he goes. You mentioned earlier, Paulo, that you really valued being open in this format, and that's a general statement, right, about booster draft, but here you certainly seem to be able to stay open for long enough to find your slot, and we'll see how Aaron approaches it.
Yeah, I think just in general, in draft, I like staying open. I don't like committing. Like, I think you pay too large a price if you just, bottleneck into your first picks very early, and it's just because it's easy.
No, he gets past a rare. 2-headed giant.
Yeah, it's not that impressive of a rare.
It is not.
It's, slightly better than Baylor Gorger.
Involves flipping multiple coins.
Yeah. For me, it's exactly Baylor Gorger. I don't think I've ever attacked with that and had an ability.
10 seconds.
Poor Paulo.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough.
He runs so bad.
It is tough being me, yeah.
2-headed giant is going to be the pick. That has to be the first Magic card named after a Magic format, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, there's cards like Standard Bearer, but
I don't think that's the same.
sometimes you have to bear Standard. Usually you get to play Limited.
Pick up your hat. You have 30 seconds.
There's a Legacy card.
There you go. Ooh.
Like, isn't there?
I don't think it's just called Legacy, but maybe. Blessed Light and a Skizzik, but it looks like Aaron's going to value the removal spell that goes with Teshar.
Okay. I think I like Skizzik a little bit more if you're undecided between white and red. And also there's one thing that is relevant. Like, the white card was when he first picked, so it means nothing to him as far as signals go. The red card was one that was passed to him. Granted, it's not a great red card, so it doesn't mean that the person isn't red. They could have just taken a better red card out of the pack, or they could take better red cards, in the future. But it does mean more. Like, your second pick should weigh more heavily than your first pick if the cards are of similar power levels. I don't think they are. I think Teshar is better, so he's still more likely to be white than red in this spot. But maybe not after this pack because there's just no white.
Sure. Here's 2 good red cards here. Or pretty good at least. Keldon Raider. 4/3 with a relevant ability, but also a Gitu Chronicler, which is a card that I like it. It's performed well for me so far.
Yeah, it is not great in white-red specifically. There are not that many things you want to bring back.
Right.
It's quite good in black-red and quite good in blue-red. Red-white is where it's at its weakest probably. But, yeah, also this format has a problem that there are a lot of 4-drops, particularly where red is concerned. Like, we see another one there, the Cyclops. So I'm always a bit wary of taking 4-drops very early. And he already has 3. Or 4. This would be his 4th 4-drop if he takes it.
Yeah, and look at that. He may have actually considered that because he looked like he was ready to take that Cyclops and decided to take an Invoke the Divine instead.
Yeah, Invoke the Divine is a card that I'm very happy to main deck in sealed, but not thrilled to main deck in draft. I think it's more of a sideboard card in draft. But I assume Aaron disagrees and will main deck this because he took it kind of aggressively. Though it could just be because it's a great sideboard card.
There's our buddy the Lava Runner.
Yeah, definitely not good in red-white.
Definitely not. Oh, but look at this. Aaron is attracted to the Grove from the Ashes.
Yeah, that is a departure from everything else he has, basically.
Pick up your hat. You have 20 seconds.
This is a little bit late. Wow, and a Saproling migration here. So a couple of decent green cards getting a little late in the pack, and frankly, not a whole lot else going on.
Yeah, I think this, if you want to switch to green, this is the moment, and I probably would have.
I would too.
I believe you are not getting a lot of white. Like, you cannot expect to be white. So if you end up in white-red, which is already not a great combination to begin with, you need a lot of red in pack 3, and I don't know if you're getting that. So I think he could very easily end up in, red-green.
I would have taken that as a signal, a big enough signal for me to test the waters.
Yeah, it's what you said. You're just testing the waters.
Mm-hmm.
You're not committed to green. If you do end up in white-red, well, you lost a 2-drop. But
yeah,
that 2-drop is not even good in
whatever.
white-red.
Yeah, so.
There's so many bad 2-drops in the set that you can take because no one else wants them. So it's not one of those sets where, you have to fight for your 2-drops very hard. Like, here's another one.
And they're all pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, they're all equally horrible.
That's right. The funny part is the Keldon Warcaller doesn't really do anything. Very rarely gets to trigger, and if it does,
it's not
rarely
even
game
always
changing.
beneficial.
Yeah, sometimes it's bad.
You have Time of Ice. They only have one creature. Well, maybe you don't want to trigger it, and it's not optional. Oh, he passed the Warlord's Fury. My favorite combo in white-red, which he seems to be, is Warlord's Fury, and I believe it's called
Quende?
Quende, yes. the card that gives all your first strikers double strike instead.
Yeah.
That is a great combo.
That is sweet. And you get to draw a card.
You do, but you won't need it. They will be dead.
That's true.
But
that is true. You get to draw a card if they don't scoop first. Lich's Mastery a little late here, maybe going in the trade binder there for Aaron. So he did take a quick glance over at green for just a moment. He kind of immediately said, no, that's not really where I want to go.
Well, I would really have taken the land, the memorial over Broken Bone there.
Yeah.
Because he already has a disenchant effect, so if he does end up in white-green, he won't need the Broken Bone. And he also doesn't seem to have a lot of enchantments and artifacts himself, so it's not a card that would be great against him, whereas the memorial is going to be good in anyone's green deck. I really like the green memorial. I think
it is good.
It's a card you always happily play if you're green, if you're base green.
But yeah, Aaron seems to have really solidified in red-white here. We're going to get a chance to see his deck as it sits right now. He's going to get a review period in between Pack 1 and Pack 2. They have 1 minute to review the picks at this point. And let's see where he's at. We have a pretty good feel for what his deck is, and it's just kind of a bunch of red and white stuff. There's nothing really synergistic going on here. This deck isn't particularly aggressive. It's just kind of cards which are red and white and some level of playable. And frankly, that's not really where you want to be here. He's going to need to try to improve. Basically, the way I view these decks, Paulo, is that, they can win. I mean, you can still curve out, and if your opponent stumbles or if you just play more spells than they do, sometimes you can win. But they do tend to rely very heavily on either your curve or, at the end of the draft, raw power. Just what uncommons and rares did you get to accommodate your Keldon Warcallers and your Bloodstone Goblins? And boy, I don't love leaving my destiny to the fate of the booster packs. That doesn't always work out. Because, sure, you might open a bomb, might not be on color, right? You just never know what you're going to get out of the packs. And Aaron is kind of slotted in here with this red-white deck.
Yeah, the big thing that I think is the problem with this type of deck is that none of your cards get better because you have certain other cards.
It's a great way to put it.
None of your cards is gaining extra value. Like, if you're playing a Wizards deck, then, you're playing a card that is mediocre, the Thalarian's card. But it becomes better than its baseline because it's a Wizard and you have things that work with that. in red-white aggro, no cards do that.
No.
So, like, I
Yeah.
guess you can have, Champion of the Flame and a bunch of equipment and auras, but that's not great. And he
not
doesn't have any Champion of the Flame. It's an uncommon.
Yeah, no Valduk either. So
Yeah. So there's no real benefit to being white-red, unless you're just getting past a lot of good white-red cards.
right, and he hasn't thus far.
Yes, that is my main
Teshar's
concern.
fine. Yeah, I mean he's got a couple of okay cards, but they're really not that great. So this is going to have to be really good. Oh, there's Slimefoot, our buddy. Cast Down, perhaps the best card in this pack. Yeah, Cast Down or Slimefoot, but he's miles away from Slimefoot. He's already got a bunch of 4-drops as you outlined. Is it going to be Dominant Trapper? Oof.
It could be. It could also be the Aether Glider. He is not committed to white yet, and even if he is, he does have a Teshar, so he wants to trigger Historic.
Well,
But
he's just going to go for what he views as the most powerful card in his colors.
It definitely is the most powerful card in white-red, but his deck is not set up to make use of it just yet. It might be. There's still 2 packs to go, and he already has 2 cards that care about Historic, even though he doesn't have any Historic.
Yeah, he can't trigger them yet. Lots of runway left, though, on the draft for him here. Well, there's a Baloth Gorger, Keldon Overseer. Oh, there's a Wizard's Lightning at the back. Whew.
Yeah.
Saved by the bell there. That was the last card in the pack for him. But it also happens to be the best one and on color for him. So he's going to snap off Wizard's Lightning here. Nice pickup.
Yeah, that'll definitely be good. And in this format, there isn't a lot of reach, so people usually feel safe going pretty low, and you can actually burn them out.
Absolutely.
Especially if you have a copy of Radiant Lightning as well. Like, no one, everyone just goes to 6, 5, 4, 3 life before they stabilize. Even 1, I believe we've seen a lot of games in which someone won at 1 or 2 life or started gaining life after that.
Yep. But was that life total for multiple turns? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up your pack. You have 30 seconds.
There's Radiating Lightning now that you mention it. Clifftop Retreat. Adamant Will. Ugh. Boy. This has been a rough one here for Aaron.
Yeah, and Aaron should expect to get white in this pack.
Yes, he should.
Because he passed no white cards. In fact, he has no white cards himself.
Yeah, he got no white passed to him, and he took the very few that he saw.
So this is the pack where you'd be rewarded by being white, and it's not happening. Adamant Will is a 10th pick, and he took it 3rd.
This is starting to get a little nervous for Aaron here. He's had an incredible run through day 1 and leading up to now, but these decks just tend to not perform super well.
Yeah, and it's hard to say if, people passing to him are actually in his colors, or the cards just aren't there. It's possible that, only 1 other white card was opened, and that was taken, and then the next best is Adamant Will. And then that's no fault of his.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that people have been taking those cards away from him.
You should have 10 cards. Pick up your pack. You have 25 seconds.
Let's see what he's got for pick 4 here. Please say it's better than Keldon Warcaller. There we go. Shiv and Fire and a Goblin Barrage. Also a Call to Cavalry, so some decent stuff here. Which one do you like? Do you like the Barrage or the Fire?
I like Shiv and Fire more.
Yeah.
I think,
Can do 4.
yeah, it just costs 1 more mana to do 4 at instant speed. And when you play it for 1, it's such a huge swing compared to playing it for 4. Like, the difference between 1 and 4, it's 4 times as much.
Yes.
And between 4 and 5 is just 1 mana.
That's right.
So
Goblin Barrage being kicked isn't something that happens super often either.
it does happen from time to time, and it is relevant. As you said, people stabilize at low life totals in this format, so it does happen. But he doesn't even have any artifacts yet
No.
in his pool, or goblins.
No.
He might pick up a Squee or something. That's really good to sacrifice.
Yeah. But it looks like it's going to be another Dominant Trapper here. And Ruben is really starting to run up against an issue here where he now has multiple cards that care about historic spells and is woefully light on historic spells themselves.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I believe his only historic spell that he would be happy to play is Teshar, which obviously can't trigger itself.
Right.
So it's not actually doing much. It's just a 4-mana 2/2 flyer. with a lightning rod on it, I guess.
Here's Memorial to Glory or a Blood Tallow Candle. Aaron's going to snap it off, and this is the type of Blood Tallow Candle we will not be seeing on turn 1 very often.
Yeah, I imagine unless he has his whole hand already planned out from turn 1, he would just not cast it because it triggers all his historic.
Okay, there's a Keldon Overseer.
Yeah, it's a fine card, and I'm happy to play it in basically every aggressive red deck, which does this. So
Definitely.
yeah, the big problem with this draft isn't that he's taking this type of card now, because that's where you'd expect to take Keldon Overseer, is that he took Keldon Overseer power level cards in picks 2.
Yeah.
For example, pick 1.
Yep.
And, this is the kind of card that is the support crew. You have solid cards and then that rounds it up. But when that is the best you're doing, when that's all you're doing, that's not great.
He's looking at Fall of the Thran. We may have come to this point here. I have found that card really bad.
I have not found it anything because I've never played it.
I've certainly never put it in my deck. My opponent did. I thought, wow, that seems powerful. And then I thought, no, it's actually not that good.
I can see it being, a way for a bad deck to beat a good deck.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I would snap that Guardian of Carlos. Yeah. It's 5 mana for historic.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think maybe we're being a bit harsh on his deck. It's not like his deck is bad. He did pick up Shivering Fire, Wizard's Lightning. Or he didn't pick up Shivering Fire. Goblin Barrage.
Yep.
Wizard's Lightning. He has a Blessed Light. So he has more interaction than the first deck that we covered.
That's
which
true.
was blue-white, no interaction. But his creatures aren't great. So right now he really needs some more power.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We mentioned this when we watched Jack Dobbin draft earlier that, yeah, you can see how this deck pieces together, and it's easy to say how it could win a game, but if you take a snapshot of it just based on raw power, it really isn't bringing that.
Yeah,
and that is a problem, because when your opponent just plays something just rawly powerful is when you look down and say, can I combat this? They play Siege Gang Commander, they play Varix, and you're just like, that is just way, way better than anything I can do.
Yeah, that definitely happens, and there are a number of cards in this format that are way better than anything Aaron Rubin can do.
Definitely.
That is definitely true. So he doesn't actually have a lot of 2-drops either, I don't think. So it's not like he's going to come out of the gates blazingly fast. He has no Pegasus, so he can't really push through. So it's a rough spot for him. I wouldn't say his average card quality is horrible. It's certainly not that. It's serviceable. But he's lacking a couple pieces to make his deck truly great.
Well, he's got one more pack to try to pick him up here, Paulo, and he's going to take a quick sip of his beverage, and we're going to get a chance to let him review his deck, and we'll get an eye on that and see what it is that he wants to pick up. I think number 1 on his list, it's the same thing that it was when he first sat down at the draft. It's just raw power level. He'd love to pick up something to put him over the top in situations where the board stalls out, or he just needs something to overpower his opponent, because right now his deck's very fair.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. It's a fair deck. Which, you will get from time to time. You don't always open broken bombs. But if you go, what's the best card in this deck? It's probably Wizard's Lightning.
Yep.
Just 3 mana, 3 damage. That's all it does. It doesn't even have any wizards. So while that is a good card, it's tough being in Dominaria and having that be your best card.
Right.
Especially when your worst card is, your third copy of a 2-mana 2/2.
Right. Yeah, very, very low on the floor here for Aaron Rubin. He is taking a look at trying to get as much historic triggers into the deck as he can. He's got 2 Dominant Trappers. He also has Teshar. So he may even be going down to Sparring Construct range here, which is not really where you want to be, especially with no equipment.
Yeah, and especially because, it's a 1-drop, but you're not actually playing that on turn 1. So coming out of the gates blazing fast, it's not great, but I think it is a fine pickup for his deck. I believe he will play it, and he will be right to do so.
He's got to get that Gitu Journey Mage in there, though, right? That's going to make the cut, is it not?
He might. He doesn't have any other wizards that I can see, but if he just needs 3 drops.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He does have the overseer all the way to the left on the 7 drop column, so we know where his head's at.
He thinks big.
Yeah.
So get the vibe that he would like to be in green. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a chat with Aaron and said, what do you like in the format? Because he keeps bringing the green cards to the front first, and he did dip his toe in. All right, pack number 3 incoming. Let's get Aaron Rubin a bomb here.
Yeah, he really wants, ideally, a bomb that is also historic, like a Lyra, even like a Nicey Manipulator would be a great card for him.
Oh, yeah. Very good pickup. Let's see if he can get there.
You know, Shalai. Siege Gang is not historic, but I'll accept it. You know, History of Benalia. There are a number of great hits for him.
Yeah, let's see if he can hit one. Urgaros. It's a Territorial Allosaurus.
It's a great hit for someone else.
It is indeed, and this is the hard part, is that you just don't always get there. He is going to get a Goblin Barrage out of the deal, it looks like. He could take a Skizik if he really wanted, but another Barrage.
Yeah. I mean, that is good. Oh, I would never take Gideon's Reposter. I think that would be a major mistake.
Why?
Well, it's just not that good in aggressive decks. You really want to remove the blockers before they block.
And get in the red zone. Goblin Barrage does a good job.
He doesn't seem to like Skizik very much.
No, he's passed 2 of them this draft.
Yeah, I think I might have taken both.
I like Skizik a lot.
Yeah, I do too. It's not that different from charging Monster Sword that we saw in the last set.
Yep.
You know, even though your deck is going to be slower this time around, people are also going to be prepared for slower decks. So everyone's deck is lower. So if you do come out against Blazing Fast, having a 5-power Trampler with haste is pretty good.
It really is. It also can just change a game that, you know, you were a little bit behind in the race and now you're dramatically ahead. And it's an uncommon. People don't always consider it or play around it necessarily. It's definitely the type of card that you'll just say, if you have Skizik, you got me, attack with all these. And, well, sometimes you have Skizik and you get them.
Yeah.
Fiery Intervention seems to be the pick here for Rubin, who's actually found himself with a lot of removal at the end of the day.
Yeah, he seems to be covered in the removal department here.
Yeah, he actually just would prefer some more potent threats at this point, I think. Fiery Intervention's a fine card, but a little slow.
Yeah, but it is the top of his curve, and it does remove blockers. So I think it's a card he will be happy to play in his deck. He probably doesn't want, another one. At this point, he would rather have a solid creature.
Man, Grand Warlord Rada at the back. But Sergeant-at-Arms might be the pick here.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, Song of... Look at him. I knew it.
What?
He wants to be green.
But
it's just painful. He can't even look at it. There's a Llanowar Elf back there, too.
Green what?
I mean, I don't blame him. I'm looking at those cards, too. But I just like...
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Song of Frailes has been an absolute overperformer so far in the format. And you could tell it just pained Aaron to pass it. He did not want to.
Yeah.
But it's Sergeant-at-Arms that joins the team.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely regrets not taking that migration, that very early pack that would put him into green. He wishes he could be green, but at this point he can't.
Now he's going to have to settle for a Knight of New Benalia.
Yeah, that's probably what he's going to have to take.
This pack doesn't really have a lot for him. There's some nice stuff in there, though. Academy Journey Mage back there. Oh, interesting. He's going to go for Guardians of Koilos, ignoring his curve a bit there and going for another 5-drop, but again, prioritizing at least the ability to trigger Historic on some level here.
Yeah, and if you have 2 of them, you can trigger Historic forever.
Oh.
Have you thought about that, Marshall?
No, I've never done that because I don't think I've ever played one and been happy. Wow. Get those trappers rolling, huh?
Yeah. It's an expensive IC manipulator, sorcery speed, but...
Only on your turn, yeah, okay. It's a little brutal. I like how you think, though, Paulo. You see all the angles.
Yeah, it is important.
Pick up your pack. You have 25 seconds.
Oh, that card, the Blistering Goblin would actually be quite good in his deck. He has 2 Goblin Barrages, so he can sack that to do 4 damage to a player. And if he kicks the Barrage through any other, like sacrificing an artifact, then he pumps the Goblin. So it kind of works both ways with the Barrage there.
Yeah, he's going to have to be paying close attention to what creature type he's dealing with here.
Yeah. Luckily, it's not very nebulous. It just says Goblin on the title.
Yes.
So you can't really mess it up.
Gosh, another Academy Journey Mage and a Baloth Gorger.
Yeah, this is the type of pack that just kills me because, sometimes you step back with nothing. You're like, okay, whatever, I'm taking nothing. It doesn't matter what I am, I have nothing. This pack has a lot of great cards in it that he can't take. Even the card he took, he will play. It is good in his deck. He has a lot of removal now.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be better in a different deck. So this is the type of pack that makes you regret your choices during the draft. You're like, well, I wish I were in a different color combination. But this card will be good for him.
I'm sure Aaron's.
That's another pack like
God.
that.
I don't know if I can do this anymore. He can't do it. He's going to take the Spore Crown out. He's like, I can't. I just can't anymore.
I'm switching to green now. You
Yeah.
can't stop me.
He's going to jump ship. Hey, you said you like staying open, right? He's just finally realized that green's the color and moving in.
Yeah, better late than never, I guess.
I guess you just cut it, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, if you're not going to take anything for you, then that's definitely the best card in the pack. And it's
oh, my God. This is just ridiculous. Green is, like, so wide open.
It's okay, Marshall. We moved in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You expect these to make the cut, splash for the Steel Leaf champion?
It's unlikely, but
Ugh.
that is better than his white cards.
It's better than most of his cards, period, isn't it? Oh!
Oh wow!
He got Skizik back.
Yeah, joke's on me.
Yeah, I guess why not both was the answer to which one of these should you take. So, Skizik comes back. Nice.
Yeah, that's good with the Goblin too. It's a kicker spell.
Sure. And the Flame of Keld. Do not anticipate seeing that one.
Yeah, it is tough to make it work. It is good with Radiant Lightning and Goblin Chain River if you get that.
Okay.
I once had a deck with a lot of those effects and 3 Flames of Keld, and I found out they're not good in multiples. Because if you just have 3 in your hand, you're like, well,
You
I
have
can't
to
do
discard
it.
the rest.
You need Wrath Capuchin. Then you can
that's
play it
funny.
in response to each other.
Oh.
That works.
And then you end up with like 6 cards. I like it. I like how you think.
Yeah.
Skirk Prospector or a Warlord's Fury are the choices here for Ruben as he winds down pack number 3.
I like Warlord's Fury in general. He has a couple 3/1s that will get through, and the cost is minimal. You just pay 1 mana. And, the card replaces itself, so it's kind of like you're casting an Opt.
It is.
And, if it gets you attack, sometimes it lets you attack for 5. Or, if you have a Skizik in play and they leave something back to block, so it can do a lot of damage for only 1 mana.
Boy, there was a late Llanowar Elves in that pack, too. This is a hard one. This is a hard one to endure. We had that one critical moment. Welcome back to the booth here at GP Dallas Fort Worth. We had that one big moment where he had speculated a little bit on pack 1 on Grow from the Ashes, and we thought, okay, maybe he's going to take a flyer here and try to go in a different direction. And then the next pick, he got Sapperling Migration, and we thought, okay, that looks like the best card in the pack. But he decided, no, I'm going to stick to my guns. And he didn't look back from that point on. He stayed in red and white. And, boy, that last pack was pretty punishing for that decision.
Yeah, it is brutal because a lot of the time you look back and you think, okay, green was open. But I don't know where I could have gone green. There's nothing I could have done. And this time we know. There was a moment he could have gone green and he chose not to. So, maybe it was the right decision at the time. But it still has to be on his mind that he could be the person with all those green cards. In fact, he has a lot of green cards.
Yeah.
So the good part about it is that there's a chance no one has them, or only one person has them. Then if you can dodge that person, because there's no way there are 3 green drafters in that draft.
No
You
way.
would not see those cards.
Yeah, there's half a green drafter in that
So
draft. by the way.
there might be 0.
Yes.
There might be 1. And
Yeah, but as it worked out for Aaron, he's going to have to make do with the red-white pile that he's got, get his 23 cards out of it, and take them to battle. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more here from Dallas, Fort Worth. Hello there, welcome back to the booth here at Grand Prix Dallas Fort Worth. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, that's Paulo Vitor Dominarosa. Paulo, Lyra or Karn? Pack one, pick one, go.
Karn. I think Lyra is a better card, but I'd rather have the 9.5 that I'll play every time versus the 10 that I'll play, 3/4 of the time.
You got your answers, chat. It's Karn. All right, we've got another draft lined up for you. Let's head on down to that right now. This one, of course, is Matthew Resnick. He's sitting in seat number 4. Now, just for those of you that have just watched us along with Aaron, he was in seat number 1. Ooh, I saw an Eviscerate. What else is in here? Grow from the Ashes.
Nothing.
Eviscerate, yeah. And a Gideon's Reproaches looks like what he's pulled to the front. Joda is the rare and not a particularly notable one.
No, I mean, if you happen to be Jeskai, you'll happily play Joda, but you don't happen to be Jeskai very often, and it's not really worth splashing for. So yeah, here I think he'll just take Eviscerate, but it is important to pull up the cards that you think are going to be the next picks, so you know what the people next to you are going to take. And that doesn't necessarily mean you change what you're doing. You're still passing to them, you still control what they do, but it is nice to have an idea what colors you're passing them.
By the way, Dustin Stern in chat says, it's okay to be wrong, PV.
It is okay to be wrong, isn't it?
Doesn't mean you are, though.
No, I mean, I could be. Both cards are really good. Lara is better. How much better? I'm not sure. But I would take Karn.
Matthew's just waiting for the go-ahead to pick his next card. And here we go. Is that a foil Yargle?
Oh, what do you have to do if they pick a foil Yargle, Marsha? Because I know you have to yell Yargle if they pick one, right?
That was a one-time.
Promised.
I already did that.
I think it goes for the whole week.
No, I don't think that's how that works at all.
Wow, you're just going back on your promise?
Not in my contract. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do if it's a foil Yargle, by the way. That is...
Well, you better hope we don't have to find out.
Yeah.
A lot of decent choices here. Nothing you would be thrilled about.
He's going to go with Blink of an Eye.
I do like that card.
I do too. So he's got, what, Eviscerate, Blink of an Eye?
Yeah. He's got two okay
start.
spells. Yeah. That's already more interaction than we saw in the entire first draft we covered. Not
true.
The one we just covered, the one before that.
Yeah, first one of the day. Well, this pack doesn't look super exciting, though there is a third removal spell in it.
Yep.
For Matthew, if he wants to run a Fiery Intervention, just kind of stay open on his colors. Does seem to be the best card in the pack by a fair bit as well.
Yeah, I think you just have to take that. I just go Grixis spells. That's okay.
Chat wants me to go grab the announcement mic at the main stage and
to yell Yargle.
Yeah.
I think that does make sense.
Oh, you agree? You think that's the right thing?
Yeah.
I think the 1,500 people in the room might disagree with you.
Well, but by that point, we'll already be done. What can they do?
Also, you already admitted earlier that it's fine to be wrong, so I'm not listening to you anymore.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Looks like he's deciding between Dauntless Bodyguard for a fourth color or the Kaligos Skin Witch. One of my
neither
favorite
of those
cards.
is great. I mean, at this point in the draft, you will play both. If you are that color, you'll play them regardless. He hasn't seen a lot of black. Like, this is the first black card he actually sees.
That's right.
Even in the pack he took to Blink of an Eye, like, there wasn't much black at all.
Yeah, and the only one here is a Stronghold Confessor or Chainer's Torment. Uh-oh, is he going to dip over into green here?
I would take the Chronicler here very quickly, I think.
You take it quickly.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, I don't think it's you should consider anything else from that pack based on what you already have. Obviously, if it's pack 1, that's different, but based on the things you have a bunch of removal spells. You are you can potentially be in the wizard colors. It's really good in either red-black or blue-red, which is what he can be at this point. So I don't see why you'd pass that up.
By the way, you've really alienated chat now.
What did I do?
Well, you said that's the first black card that he's seen since pack 1.
And, oh.
Royal Yargle, dude. Perhaps you have forgotten.
I'm sorry, Chad.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Well, I don't think chat's really who you need to apologize to, but it's the Yarg dad. Dark bargain there for Matthew.
Yeah, so this is a point where he's chosen that direction.
Mm-hmm.
He could have taken Skizik
Yep.
and gone for a more aggressive approach. And he chose a Dark Bargain, so that's a more control-ish approach, which is usually the better approach in this draft format. Oh, just take the Chronicler.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you're doing that.
I like it when you get impatient. Quit toying with this, Matthew. We know what you're doing, buddy.
Yeah, and now he has 2 Chroniclers. That can really set up his whole draft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he picks 1 copy of Soul Salvage already, then, that's basically infinite.
Right. He can just loop together removal spells over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Only on-color card of note here is Rampaging Cyclops. So it seems like kind of a forced pick at this point.
Yeah, he could take Opt and still go. He's not forced into a black-red yet, but... And, all this talk about Yargle, it's actually much better than people give it credit for, I think.
Yeah?
It's really big. It really
is 9
warps
power.
how the game is played.
It does.
Because if they have 2 3/2s, what are they supposed to do? Did they attack with 1?
Mm-hmm.
Then you kill the other one, they take 9.
Yeah.
So they can't really attack. It plays similar to Geist of Saint Traft in Constructed. You play a Geist,
Wow.
they leave all their creatures back. Because
That's true.
If you ever kill 1, then they're dead. And Yargle is similar, and if you put Arcane Flight or, God forbid, Sarah's Wings on it, then you just win on the spot. So I think it's quite a bit better than people give it credit for. It is also a legendary that triggers all your legendary and historic synergies.
I mean, somebody took it.
Yeah.
Also, chat says
Luckily-
that Yargle demands retribution for your sins. So
My sins?
yes, you ignored the Yarg Father. That's not how this works.
I didn't ignore it. I just forgot about it.
Wow. That might be worse. We're in the dregs of the pack here. Of course, just a few picks left. Breaking news, by the way, from Paulo Vitor Dominarosa. Yargle equals Geist of Saint Traft. You heard it here first.
It's very similar.
Basically the same card.
They're both legendary, 4/1.
There you go. I think that's the only similarity between the 2 cards.
No, it's not. They have very similar play patterns.
All right. Usually you're dead from Geist of Saint Traft by the time you could even cast Yargle.
Obviously, the power level isn't the exact same.
What if we put him in the arena? What happens? Yargle wins handily. Right? Block.
Yeah,
Take
that's it.
4, 918. Yeah. Oh, man. Yargle cleanly racing Geist of Saint Traft here in Dallas. I like that first pack. We're going to get a chance to see it here from Matthew Resnick as well. He started off thinking, well, I might be blue-black, but he shifted pretty quickly into red-black, and on the strength of those 2 Gitu Chroniclers.
Yeah, he has card advantage, removal. He doesn't have anything fantastic yet, like he doesn't have a bomb. But his deck is solid, and it's more where I want to be than what we saw from the last draft day coverage.
Look at that. He pulled Warlord Fury to the front here, too. Perhaps just a little more fodder for the Gitu Chronicler.
I mean, it barely counts, I think. I would not expect him to play Warlord's Fury in this deck.
Okay.
Also, chat is letting you know, Marshall, I think I have to stop you. There are way more similarities between Geist and Yargle. First, they're both spirits. So
Are they both spirits?
yes. Second, if you count the Angel, their combined power and toughness is 12. So it's 9 and 3,
4,
and then you get
8.
6 and 6.
K12. You're right.
And they're both legendary.
Yeah, we
So there you
covered
go.
that one already.
Taste it. Basically the same card.
Wow. Looks like I have to eat my words here. And you know what? I don't think it's okay to be wrong, so it really stings. This really is a setback for me. Well, that's why he's the expert, folks. Pack 2 incoming here for Matthew Resnick. And let's see if he can pick up some more on-theme cards. He'd like to find more removal. And, of course, you're always in the market for a card with a lot of punch, something really powerful. That's just always the case. There's no deck that doesn't want a card like that.
Yeah. Well, some decks can use them better.
It is true.
This is a deck that can use, like, even if you get something like a Fight with Fire, that's a powerful card for anybody.
Oh,
but
yeah.
for a deck that wants to go to the late game and has 2 Chroniclers, it's super powerful.
Is that a Josu Vess? Oh,
That's one of the cards that is super powerful in a deck like this.
perfect. He actually picked up 3 beautiful cards for his deck, and it can only choose one of them. There's an Eviscerate and a Shivan Fire, both of which he can buy back with the Get You Chronicler. But I don't see how you pass Josu Vess here as just a fantastic 4-drop, or if you save up in 10 mana, it's a game winner.
Yeah, as like suspend 1, win the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this pack is so good for him. If he could just take this pack and go home with it, not draft more for the rest of this pack, he would probably be happy.
Probably he'd get 3 premium cards and 2 other playables, and probably say, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But that, of course, is not how it works. So Josu Vess is going to be the pick, and Matthew is not going to have a high chance to wheel any of the good cards, as there's only 2 left, and they're both premium cards. But it's going to have to lean on these next few picks. Windgrace Acolyte, it's been pretty good. Also has some synergies with the Chroniclers.
Yeah, and he's a deck that wants to pick up Soul Salvage already. So that's an extra synergy that he's looking for.
What about Fire Intervention?
That's a good card, too.
Yeah.
He's not removal flooded yet. Like,
No.
It is a thing to have so much removal that, you start having to kill their bears with your 5-mana premium removal because you have no creatures.
Yeah.
He's not in that spot yet.
Yeah. So he's going to play it safe and just take that Fire Intervention. Makes a lot of sense. Intervention's second mode is also sometimes handy against cards like Icy Manipulator. There's another Fire Intervention, also a Skin Witch, Chainer's Torment, and a Whisper Blood Liturgist. The Blood Tallow Candle, not super great in his deck. He doesn't have a lot of going on with Historic, and he can't buy it back with his Chroniclers.
Yeah, I would definitely not take the candle here.
Yeah.
It's between the Chronicler and the Intervention, I believe. He already has 2 of each. So
Intervention, number 2.
I lean towards Chronicler in this spot in a deck like his. He has Dark Bargaining already, but I don't think Intervention is bad. Also, he could wield the Windgrace Acolyte from the
first
pack
pack
that he opened that was really good, really deep in his colors.
Definitely.
So that's another 5-drop that you're getting, and it's a card that also works with the Chronicler and not necessarily with the Intervention.
Yeah, there have to be 2 other black drafters at the table for him to not get it, because somebody's taking Eviscerate.
Yeah, and the black drafter could just be black something and take a different card.
Definitely.
So,
Yep.
given that the pack was good, very deep in his colors, I would expect to get something back.
Looks like they're getting a quick count of the cards as they're being passed just to make sure that everything's right. This is, of course, part of the reason why we do these timed drafts in this manner. Well, this pack is a bit of a dud. He can pick up a Keldon Overseer. Oh, there's a Blackblade Reforged in the middle of the pack.
It's
Where's
not
he
good for him.
Yeah, where's he out on legendary creatures?
I don't believe he has any. He just passed a Whisper.
Right.
I don't believe he has any legendaries. But he also doesn't want to play Keldon Overseer.
Yeah, he doesn't. And so he's just going to go ahead and take the upside potential on Blackblade Reforged.
Yeah,
And
it's
he
not
does
even
have
a
enough
card.
removal to potentially just get himself to the point where he can equip it the good old-fashioned way, just dump 7 mana in.
Well, he definitely could, but when I have a lot of removal, I want to have creatures way more than I want to have equipment.
Sure.
Even though it's a good piece of equipment.
All right, well, there is a Windgrace Acolyte now for Matthew.
Yeah, it's not even the same one, right?
No, it's not.
That pack hasn't willed yet.
No. He could get a foil Lich's Mastery and just go off the deep end.
He could. and then get the next Winggrace Acolyte.
Uh-huh.
Draw 3.
That's right. See, you get it. He didn't take it, though.
Oh yeah, he has Josephus. That's legendary.
That's true. Josephus does not need a lot of help, though.
It does not.
They do just fine on their own, thank you very much. Uh-oh. Chad and I decided earlier, Apollo, that as a rule for life, you always splash Slimefoot the Stowaway, regardless of color consideration.
But like, if you're splashing one color, or if you're red-white, you have to play it anyway.
No, it's only one color. We're
Okay.
not crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never.
But we figured that Slimefoot is love, Slimefoot is life, and it looks like Matthew may agree, though currently no fixing for Matthew.
It was far and away the best card in the pack. So I imagine if he does pick up a couple fixers, he could get, Skittering Surveyor, Dual Land.
Yeah. He's going to go with Divest. Ooh, a Fungal Infection.
I love that card.
Me too. It's a nice, cheap, interactive spell that goes well in his deck. Looking at a Radiating Lightning as a possibility as well, though Fungal Infection tends to perform better on average by a lot. Radiating Lightning in most decks is a sideboard card.
Yeah, Fungal Infection kills 2 1/1s, effectively, or 2 1/10 creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to want the 3 damage to the face to want Radiant Lightning.
He did wield the Acolyte, by the way.
He did, and a Rona.
Indeed.
So he has a lot of 5-drops already.
Yes,
and
he does.
Also has a decent number of... he doesn't have any actual 6-drops, but he has Chroniclers and the Witch that he can play on 6. So he doesn't need any more expensive cards. I would be wary of taking a lot more, 5-drops in the future. I would not take another Fire Intervention or another Windgrace Acolyte here.
Yeah, you're not going to be
I think
prioritizing
this is about as far as I'll go with mediocre 5-drops. Obviously, you won't be like, oh, Siege Gang, guess I have to pass that. It's a 5-drop. But...
Right. I'd be mad at you if you did that, Paulo.
Oh, Yargle.
Well, you got to take Yargle, but that's different. Frenzied Rage, not really where Matthew wants to be. Same with Chainer's Torment, the pick he's picked prior, but that's okay. These are the last few picks of the pack. You don't expect to get great stuff at this point anyway.
Yeah, I think what Matthew is looking forward here, honestly, obviously he will take a bomb.
Yeah.
He would like a bomb. He doesn't need one. The common he's most looking forward to, I believe, is Soul Salvage.
Okay.
Just
enable the loop.
Yeah, just name it the loop. And I'm not saying you're even taking Soul Salvage over a premium common. Like, if he opens Shivan Fire and Soul Salvage, he might be just right to take the Shivan Fire because it's so much better. But he would love, a 5th pick Soul Salvage here. So he doesn't really want to open it, because then he might have to take it over a better card. But he wants someone else to open it, and it will probably get to him to a point where he's happy taking it. 4th, 5th, I think he would be very pleased.
Do you think that he has any major weaknesses for his deck right now?
I don't believe so.
He's got pretty well-rounded deck, right? Like, Josuves is a great way to win the game. Beyond Josuves, doesn't have a lot of great win conditions, evasive threats or just big stuff. But he can just simply grind his opponent into dust.
Yeah,
Let's take a look at his deck here, too, by the way.
When you can kill everything they play, you don't need a kill condition. You just play a Fire Elemental, and that kills them. It's different than... Some decks need ways to win, but he already has Joseph as a super trump way to win.
Yeah.
He has his Limefoot he wants to splash that. He has a couple Flyers. So he doesn't need a way to win. Soul Salvage, again, would be his best way to win, I think.
Right. Just a form of extreme card advantage in a deck like this.
Yeah, and he wants another Chronicler, if he can take one. I believe he really regrets taking the Fiery over the Chronicler there. But he's fine. Has a Cyclops. Again, he's a bit heavy on the 5-drops with the 3 Fire Interventions and the 2 Wing Graces, but he'll be fine, I think. I like his deck a lot. I think, as far as a deck without ridiculous bombs go, it's pretty good. Obviously, you can do better. Like, he didn't open any power uncommons even.
No.
Like, he has a Joseph Vest, and everything else is a common.
Right.
Basically, he has no Ice Manipulator, Fight with Fire, Ink Bonuses, Glitches. So his deck could definitely be better. But as far as, what we saw, I believe he was taking the best card out of a lot of those packs. And it's not like he would have broken cards if he were in different combination. So, yeah, I think he's very happy where he is.
Okay. He also does have that Black Blade Reforged if he finds himself in a scenario where he just needs that win condition, though. I tend to agree with you, Paulo. I don't think that's really at the top of his priority list at this point, and that's a nice place to be going into this third pack.
Yeah, it definitely is, because you don't need much.
No.
He
Just
has...
needs to kind of fill things out.
Yeah.
And, of course, always in the market for a bomb. How about Varix? That's what I
Oh,
wanna
he would
see.
love that.
Just get a little Varix Blade Wing going here. Double Dragon.
Yeah, Varix, Siege Gang, Karn, another Josufas.
Oh, yeah.
He would love all of those.
Ooh, the Eldest Reborn. Forebear's Blade. That's interesting, too. You were mentioning that you don't really want to have equipment, though, in a deck like this necessarily.
Yeah, this is probably the worst Forebear's Blade deck I can possibly imagine. The card is extremely strong, but I don't think he really wants it. Like, Eldest Reborn he does have a problem in his deck that it's yet another card that costs 5. It is the best one of all he has. It's better than Fire Intervention. It's better than the Wingwraith Acolyte. It is good with the Wingwraith Acolyte too.
Definitely.
But the fact that it
Super
costs
good.
5 might be a problem for him.
He's going to go with the Forebear's Blade here, Paulo.
Yeah, I would not take that. I think I would take the Gitu Chronicler before I took that, or the Eldest Reborn. I mean, my choice is between the Chronicler and the Reborn, depending on how I feel about my 5 drops.
Matthew did point at the Chronicler as well, perhaps signaling to us, I'd like to wheel this if possible.
Yeah, it is not super likely that he would kill it, but
No.
he could.
That's the card he wants the most. He got a Rite of Belzenlock here.
Yeah, that card is also not that strong in his deck compared to, how good it is in a deck like Black Green a lot of the time.
Right.
He could take Dark Bargain over it. It is not crazy to do that.
Would that be his second Dark Bargain?
It would be his second Dark Bargain.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's going to go for the Rite of Belzenlock. Just go for the higher power.
It is the better card, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes we end up getting too fancy with synergy and I already have 4 drops and stuff like that. Like just take the bomb that you open and just be glad and shut up and take it, and that's what he did.
Yeah, and when you do get Rite of Belzenlock going, it does get answered fairly frequently. Oh no, another Yargle. But when it doesn't, it is a game ender.
Yeah. And I mean, if the worst case scenario is that he gets answered and you get 4 chump blockers out of the deal, or equipment carriers, he does have 2 good equipment.
Very good.
Yeah, so then that's fine. But
By
the worst that can happen is that he plays in it and he has Radiant Lightning, and then he takes 6 every turn and his deck has no creatures.
Wow, he just put Yargle right to the back of the pack, just jailed him up, never even looked at him.
That's just rude.
Pretty out of line from Matthew Resnick.
Yeah.
He did have some reasonable choices there besides Yargle.
I like Fungal Infection more than Caligo Skin, which I think.
His second Fungal Infection.
Yeah, if I'm going to have 2 of one of those. The Witch is fine too. But
Ooh, there you go. How about Urgaros, the Empty One?
yeah,
I like that.
It is a powerful card. It's much better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it does put in work for sure. A fine place to put 6 mana. And he can also force the issue, forcing his opponent to basically play out their hand or lose their cards. If they play out their hand, then his removal can be used. If they don't, then, well, they're just going to lose it anyway. So Urgaros kind of gets you coming and going. I like it. A pretty cool twist on the Spectre variant.
Yeah, because it's frustrating when they just empty their hand.
Uh-huh.
And then now you got a card.
Now you get a card out of the deal. It also introduces an interesting play element.
Yeah, it does.
Your
And we
opponents will
saw...
often just keep lands in hand.
Yeah. And we saw yesterday, someone attacked. They had a Siege Gang in hand and a Short Sword. They're like, which one? They're like, the Short Sword's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it is random from Urgaros, so it kind of gets interesting. And not much here for Matthew, unfortunately. He's got a Stronghold Confessor pulled to the front. Cabal Evangelist, his other option.
He might play the Confessor in his deck. He does not have a lot of 4-drops that I recall, so it would be showing up a spot in his curve.
And the Confessor's been solid. Not a particularly great card.
Yeah, I
What
believe.
is that tapping? What is he keep? Is he hoping to get something? Is that his good luck tap?
I don't know.
I know he wants to wheel that
Chronicler?
Chronicler, but
That's the Llanowar Elves that
he might be dreaming.
we saw 10th pick. Or
Hey, there's a
15th.
soul salvage.
There is.
He
Yeah.
did it.
I love it. No.
Hey,
No. I mean, the memorial to Foley is also quite good.
it's like
but-
half a soul salvage.
But when you have 2 Chroniclers and you're hoping to get a third, you have to take Soul Salvage there.
I mean, you said this is the card that he wanted to see the most, perhaps, at least within reason.
yeah, and
And he did.
and he saw it at a perfect time.
Yeah, this is where exactly what he wanted to happen. Picking it up late, basically as late as possible in this pack. Just a 1 pick away or whatever would be the latest. Nothing for him out of this pack, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to take like a 2-drop like Rock Colony if you just need a blocker. But he already has so many 2s as well. He has 2 Skin Witches and 2 Gito Chroniclers he can just play on turn 2 in a Fungal Infection. So it's not like he's lacking for early plays.
Right. Yeah, he can craft his game plan around his opening hand there and play those out if he can maybe get a sword equipped to them or something like that.
Yeah, and those 1/3s that he has are really good with Rites of Balance and Lock. So maybe it is better in his deck than I gave it credit for. He does have a couple of creatures that he doesn't mind sacrificing. And it doesn't take many turns of a 6/6 flying or demon attacking for the game to be over. So it does work well as a good condition. I think his pick was right.
Cabal Paladin, he also took a brief look. Looks like he's just going to Invoke the Divine. He looked at a Power Stone Shard for a second. I mean, his deck does have mighty mana requirements, but it seems like it's going to be hard to fit in a card like that. Looks like he's not going to get back the Chronicler. Not really surprising. That card's
No, but there
very
is a
good
Bale of
card.
Gorger in there.
Yeah.
That is
he's going to take it.
that is a card that is of a similar power level than the Chronicler, or perhaps even better, and that did will. So
Chat points out that his 2-drops are wizards, at least some of them, so he could use that wand. I still don't expect him to actually put it in the deck, though. The
yeah,
Sorcerer's
I don't
Wand.
think he would want it.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth noting that he has a synergy, but that doesn't mean that it's the best thing that he could do for that slot. Blue and green cards to end the pack here for Matthew Resnick, though. I kind of like his deck.
Oh, I do too. I think it's of the 3 drafts that we've covered, it is by far the one I like the most.
Definitely. It has a solid game plan of recursion on good removal spells, and that is one way to kind of say, you know what, I can beat a lot of different strategies, right?
Yeah, and it's not a broken deck.
No.
It's not. We saw yesterday 2 History of Benalia and a Lyra.
Yeah.
It's not a deck like this.
Right.
But it's all commons.
Yeah.
And it has 1 rare. Well, it has 3 rares actually, but 2 are equipments that aren't even that good in his deck. So with what he got, I think that's the best he could do. So I think he has to be happy with himself. He did, I believe, the best he could.
Yeah, and this is the type of deck that when you sit down, you certainly know what you're trying to do with it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is a sit back and win. And then Joe Suvest, that was really a